Have you met Sammy? You met
Yeah,
Sammy.
yeah.
It's been a while, man.
Been a long time.
It's been a while.
I was
This
in
is
strike force
my
when I
producer,
went.
Dave.
That's right.
It's our producer, Dave. Hey, what's going on with yours? What's going on with your show? Your Talking Talker.
It's good.
Is
It's
it?
going good, yeah.
But so what's going on? Like what do they do when you're not there?
So I do them all normally, but last week I was flying to Boston and they did one themselves, and it was Nick and Dennis, and it was
How'd it go?
Who's Dennis?
Dennis is a guy that I guess he went as an audio guy to do some stuff at Nick's house, and they became friends. And now this dude is just fucking. I mean, this guy, he's great, right? We love him, but this dude always gets fucked up, man. We did a. Do you know that hot wing challenge?
Yeah.
Fire challenge.
That cluck challenge or whatever.
It's in San Jose.
It's over there by Santa Clara University, right?
Yeah. Yes. It's called
Used to be Cluck You.
No, not that one. It's not that one. It's the one that has all the sauce on it. It's what's the name of that store? They're everywhere. There's even one by the new Bass Pro Shops. It's
Smoke Eaters.
Smoke Eaters. That's it. And this dude, we did that Smoke Eaters challenge, and him and my nephew, they got so messed up from eating that Dennis couldn't even do the show. And in the middle of the night, I get a text from Nick, and it was a picture of Dennis in the hospital. Dude had an ulcer. He had an ulcer. I swear he had an ulcer, and by eating those wings, he freaking dropped an atomic bomb on top of an ulcer.
Oh man,
it was bad. Then the next week, he's like, he couldn't really eat because he's on antibiotics or something. Then he was like drinking wine out at dinner one time and gets out of his friend's monster truck, fucking falls backwards, comes in the next day, he has this huge black eye. I'm like, what happened to Dennis? He's like, I fell out of my friend's truck. He's like, I could only have one glass of dude, is bad.
This guy's gold, right?
Oh, he's awesome, dude. Yeah, he's the best. Fans love him.
Yeah.
We live streamed that Hot Wing Challenge and people were going, go Dennis, go Dennis. It was awesome.
That's so funny, dude.
I'm just laughing.
I love it.
How you gonna make your little nephew do that challenge? You know what? DC's that guy though.
Yeah,
He's that guy. He will make you
Pressure
do
him in.
something you
I was
don't
like,
want
Jay,
to do.
you want to do it? Jay's like, yeah. I was like, you want to make some money? He's like, yeah. I was like, all right, let's go. Smoky challenge.
Let's go.
He's awesome.
Oh man! All right. Well, obviously we're here with Daniel Cormier, and we're here at San Jose headquarters in
Yes.
San Jose,
What's up?
California. So at AKA, and we had everyone on. Basically, we had Jamil on talking about your guys' history, your past, and what it's like to have him basically, here working with you and being here for you. It's not even so much working with you, just being here with you, man. Like, I want to know, like. I met him at NC State when he was out there. When we went out there for the Oak Grove Technologies stuff, and we also did that speech when we went out there to speak to his new freshman wrestlers. Like, what does it mean? Not just what does it mean, but I mean, I see the impact you have on your young wrestlers, the ones because you have a Daniel Cormier wrestling program that you run, and your kids are phenomenal.
That we're about to put in Josh's gym too. We're gonna
Yep.
start
Oh,
a program.
really?
Yeah, we're
At
gonna
Knox?
start a
Cool.
Daniel Cormier wrestling team for Knox. So we've got one here. We've got one at another place in San Jose, and then we're gonna open one in Josh's gym. So
that's
like to try to
awesome.
just keep putting places for kids to learn to wrestle. And man, I love wrestling. As Josh alluded to, he met Jamil back in that had to be about 2012.
Yeah.
And we were out there for Oak Grove. And now Oak Grove is one of the biggest sponsors of NC State wrestling, which went from almost like a doormat of wrestling to now they're one of the top 10 teams in the country.
Wow,
because with
really?
money you can recruit. You
Yeah,
can, you know what I'm
get
saying?
other guys,
Yeah, man, and having him here is it's great. And he coaches now at Stanford.
Yep.
Yeah.
Right up the way. So I'm able to get someone that knows me from my past and also knows like which buttons to press, right? So like even when I'm struggling with a weight cut, he knows that he can go further
Than somebody else.
Because I don't pay him. These other guys, they're like, hey, this dude cuts the checks. I'm not gonna really like fucking make him get back in that hot ass bathtub if he's dying, But Jamil's like, get up and get in the freaking tub. He's like, it's ridiculous, So he knows because we have such a long friendship. We were in college together on the Olympic team together. And he helps me with a lot of little details because wrestling continues to evolve, right? It never stays the same. And he's still in the sport, so he's in tune with everything that's happening.
Yeah, that's awesome for you as well, too, right? I would
It's
assume,
great.
Right?
It's great to have. Yeah, it's awesome. He keeps me in tune with little details on techniques that I may not really know anymore. I mean, I haven't wrestled competitively since 2008, so I'm coming up on 10 years.
Yeah.
A lot can change in a decade, So, and you see it.
Well, he brings over he's got a heavyweight there at Stanford
Yeah.
University. He brings over to work with you, and the kid's obviously phenomenal. I saw him here last time because he was here helping you with your last camp a little bit. And but I mean, what's it kind of mean like to kind of give back to not just the community here, but I mean also the kids come down, they wrestle in all of you, and then you go there and you wrestle with them there in the wrestling room. Like, I see the influence you have on the kids here in your own wrestling program here, especially here at AKA, also too with a lot of the younger fighters. Like today, I mean, like the goofing around you have, like Kyle Kretschmer.
Yeah.
Kyle wrestled at Oklahoma State. You know, obviously, an amazing wrestler. Now he's here trying to pursue his fighting career. Like, you obviously, you know, he looks up to you. You obviously know that. I mean, you see but he's not bending on it. I mean, to the bitter end today, he was trying
he scraps. He scraps.
Oh, yeah.
He's a scrapper, man. The kid's so talented and so fast and so good that, I like to give it to these dudes. But I also like to just, like, I think that we have an opportunity at AKA to give these wrestlers a chance to pursue a future, right? Because if Josh can do it, and I can do it, and Kane can do it, and Luke can do it, and Trevor Prangley, and John Fitch, and Josh Koscheck, there's one thing that connects us all before we ever did this, is that we were all wrestlers, right?
Yeah.
And through hard work and commitment, we became who we are. So if we could have did it back then, why can't these young guys today do the same thing?
Yeah.
There's only 7 spots on the Olympic team. You know, it's not... There's not that many opportunities to be in the Olympics. So for these guys like a Kyle Kretschmer, who's like the, 4th, 5th, 6th best guy in the country, this is probably his best path to being very successful and making a lot of money.
Having a career after that.
Yeah, having a career after wrestling. So I think that we now, as we get older, again, all those same guys, me, Josh, John, Kane, we owe it to the next generation of wrestlers to build and show them the foundation for success in this sport. And I think that's what we're doing. We've got a lot of good, young, talented wrestlers in here right now. Man, I just wish we weren't living in the most expensive place in the entire country.
You're telling me.
Then we could actually make it easier to get more guys in here.
Yeah, that's got to be a big challenge, man.
It is.
It's so expensive in San Jose to live, man.
Well, I mean, it's so expensive for these kids, and it's like now we're having to do stuff like, and nowadays kids don't want to live like we lived, right? So like me and Josh and Bob lived in a warehouse in the beginning. I lived in Bob's house on the floor. Luke lived in the garage. You know, it was like we all, Kanan, and we all lived in that apartment. It was like we all kind of we were okay with whatever. Nowadays, wrestlers get treated better in college. So for them to come back here and live on someone's floor, it's like a step back. And they're like, wait a minute.
What?
I don't really want to do that. But that's kind of our only option when it's as expensive as it is to live here in San Jose. So we're trying to make do. I mean, we're trying to make do. And we've got, a few in here. And we got a couple apartments that guys are renting and kind of like living together. So they're trying to make a way, man. It's tough though. It's very tough.
I can imagine, man.
The biggest distraction I feel sometimes, there's guys that can do it and guys that can't. They just get sucked into it. We've lost a lot of top guys, not top guys that have potential. Was like with Fitch. Fitch can work in a nightclub, be a bar back, be a door guy. Cain Velasquez can be a bar back and a door guy and come in and still grind and put in work and be successful. We've lost, we lose Reese. Remember big tall Reese? 155.
Yeah.
He was a door guy. Next thing you know, he has a girlfriend, and now we never see him.
Yeah.
Dude's been gone for 2 years now.
Yeah.
No idea.
And he could have been good.
Could have been good. 6'3", 155. He's just like, how'd you make the weight? But man, he was long, lanky, fast.
That's
hit
crazy,
hard.
man.
I mean, hard to take down.
We've lost quite a few like that. Just guys. They want to live life, because I mean, we do ask you to put your life on hold for a couple of years when you come in here because you're not gonna make big money right away. You're gonna have to really learn you're gonna have to learn the sport, and bide your time and have faith in what we are telling you is that eventually it's gonna pay off, but you just have to wait your turn. And I don't think many people want to do that nowadays, right?
I feel you. I think not only in fighting, but I mean
in life. We live in a culture where everybody's like, "Give it to me now."
Yeah.
It's like a "give it to me now" culture that we live in, and it's tough to ask guys to put their life on hold for a couple years.
Hey, let me ask you a question. I mean, with your commentating First of all, dude, you're a great commentator, man. You stepped into that role.
Hands down, number one guy right now. They have on the roster, and
man.
I'll be about. I was just with
honestly.
Big Brown Breakdown last week, and he's like, hands down. He's like, besides Joe Rogan and Anik, which does something different than what you do, hands down, you're the best guy. And I don't want to toot your own horn because I know you don't need it.
It was a seamless transition. It was natural. It was comfortable. You're always good on the mic. You have this great personality, and you're doing great. So I want to give you props on that. But does it ever get like kind of troublesome, like if you have to commentate a fight but you're in camp, but there's expectations? That has to be a little tough to maneuver through.
You know, getting ready for this camp, usually I will take 8 weeks off before from UFC Tonight, hosting and calling fights. But I had scheduled this Fox show in September, and I've never done a network show. So I was like, I need to do this to be in front of probably the biggest audience I've ever been in front of. So I wanted to make sure that the higher ups at Fox actually got to hear me, because I've done FS1, which is a great channel, but FS1 peaks at about 800,000 viewers. On Big Fox last weekend, there were about 2.1 million viewers. Damn. So and that was a lower rated one. You know, normally that these things will rate at I mean, Holly Holm fought Valentina Shevchenko, and 3.5 million people watched it. So it's like, I needed to make sure that I gave myself the opportunity to be in front of that audience. And, but yeah, you know, I got off the plane on Friday, went straight to the hotel, put my bags down, grabbed my gear, and went downstairs. Thank God, Zach Cummings, my nutritionist Tyler Minton, and James Krause, they were all at the hotel, and we just went in there and they put those mats in the locker rooms, and we grappled, and I hit pads, and then we grappled 3 rounds, and I hit 6 rounds of pads, and I was like, okay, I feel like I got a great workout. And Saturday morning we work out, and we woke up, and I sparred with Tyler and Zach Cummings, who's got a fight the week before mine. So it was like, I got my work in while I was there, then I ran, you know. So you gotta just work with what you have. But I would prefer to be home. And now I'm home for the next 5 weeks to get ready for the fight. And I've been going already for 4 or 5 weeks of getting back in the gym, because honestly now I can be truthful with what you say. It's like I don't train as much in between fights as I used to because I'm so busy with the TV. So I have to start a little bit earlier than I used to, because before I was just always in here.
Yeah, because there's a lot of stuff that people don't see. It's like not only just, you know, being on TV, but there's like prep, being knowledgeable of fighters, doing your homework, you know, so that takes a lot of time as well, man.
So much time. Watching all these fights, they send me a fight link, and they'll send like 3 fights of every guy.
Oh, shoot.
So I'm just sitting there watching fights, and not every fight's a good fight. It's like sometimes you're like, fuck, man, I really have to watch this shit. It's like, I really don't want to watch these dudes fight, but I have to, because I have to know. And then it's like, okay, so I know that Rafael dos Anjos has a fantastic outside leg kick and great Muay Thai style. But that's not enough to know just how he fights. I have to go and find background information on him too. You know, so it's like that type of stuff is what we have to deal with. But I'm kind of lucky, you know. I found a guy. His name is RJ Clifford. He's a researcher, and he helps me with some of that stuff.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, and I pay for it for him to help me get some.
Fox doesn't have that for you. They don't have a guy to produce the information for you?
They give us like bios and stuff, like last fights and stuff like that. But it's like you owe it to these people. You owe it to the fighters a little bit more than the surface stuff, right?
Yeah.
And RJ will do stuff like when I call the fighters on a Tuesday, right? He'll be on the phone, and he'll like listen and jot down some of their answers from the interviews and stuff like that, nice. And then kind of puts it all in one package, and
that's
and then I just print it off and I put it at the table with me.
Dude, that's awesome to have.
Yeah,
no,
very, 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 very beneficial.
So how's your podcast going?
It's going good, man. I enjoy it. It's we started and it was kind of like a thing with me and this guy named Nick Swinburne, and
he's a good friend of ours.
Yeah, good friend of ours named Dethrone. Yeah. And he owns the Base Camp Gyms, and is like a minority owner with the Warriors. So,
oh wow,
yeah. So he was getting his championship ring a couple weeks ago, and we made fun of him about that. I don't know how you make fun of a guy for getting a championship ring, right? But we made him feel like shit about getting a championship ring. But it's going good, man. It's fun. It's very loose. We don't have any type of. We have no like format, no structure to what we're doing. We just get on there and we shoot the shit. For as long as we shoot the shit, we've had a couple good guests. We had Khabib on a few weeks ago. We had Max Holloway last night.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, we had some good guests, and it's going good. We've got a couple sponsors now. Okay. People kind of want to be involved a little bit, so it's going good, man. But it's just tough, because on a Monday night, when I get done with practice and I get done with the bike, I got to go home and set up my podcast stuff. And I'm like, I'd really rather just go to bed. And sometimes it comes off as that on the podcast.
Oh, you
because I'm like,
you're tired or something.
Daniel's tired, so they got to carry me a little bit. But it's fun.
Yeah. So do you ever get worried about like watching what you say because you're like, oh, shoot, UFC
Fox,
might get mad, Fox might get heated. So is there...
No, I think people have to understand that we are who we are, right? Like, I mean... I'm just a normal guy, I like to cuss. I like to have fun. I like to joke. I like to mess with people. I was telling the story about. I was telling the story about my. I was telling the story about how much and right now is like a horrible time because of everything that's going on. But I like to mess with the guys in the shower. I just started singing "Bow Chicka Wow Wow" when I walk in, right? So everybody like turns around and like freaking out and scared. And I was telling the story how I do that to them, and then they started. Everybody got real wise to it. Yeah. So now they don't wash their hair when I'm in there. They be real careful. So now I just soap my hand and I smack them in the face and I give them a choice, right? Either wipe your eyes and leave your butt unguarded, or protect your butt and let the soap burn your eyes. So I don't worry about stuff like this. It's funny, I'm a wrestler. That's the type of shit wrestlers do.
That's
but
good fun.
You gotta be very careful nowadays, but. Nah, man, it's fine. I mean, nobody said nothing to me yet, so I think I'm okay. I've said some pretty inappropriate shit on that
joke. Tell him the story about the first time you walked in trying to touch Kane's ass.
Try to touch Kane's ass. He about kicked he was gonna beat me naked. I was like, holy shit! Wrong one.
Yeah, across the line.
There would have been a whole bunch of swinging dicks.
I was like, wrong one. Hey, you know what? Also, what's my favorite? My favorite's like I walk in, and like if somebody has their soap up. I take it and I just throw it in front of them. Like, just throw it on the ground. And you can see everybody's head just got there like, oh. Remember the movie when the guy dropped the soap and everybody, like, kind of pans to the soap? Like, what? I do that. I grab the soap and I throw it down. I'm like, grab your soap. It's like making people feel uncomfortable, man. It's hilarious.
Yeah, that'll do it. Yeah. I mean, you got it right there.
You just throw the soap on the ground right in front of their feet. And instead of looking at the soap, they look at you like, what? Am I supposed to pick this up?
Exactly. What do I do?
So funny, man.
That's the situation.
They turn, put their butt to the wall.
Do you squat down? Do you like?
Yeah, they're filling around on the ground.
We have a good time, man.
Oh, man.
It's just all fun, man. I just like to have a good time. I like to have fun. I like to mess with people. I am who I am, man. I'm a locker room guy, right? Like, classic locker room wrestling guy, and I just got it. Like at Fox, I'm careful. I don't do the type of stuff I'll do in the gym or talk about the type of stuff I talk about on my podcast because that's my forum to talk and be who I am.
Yeah. So what's it called? The podcast?
Talk and Talker.
Talk and Talker.
The Talk and Talker podcast.
I'm assuming you're the talker, not.
I am. Nick says that. Nick says he's the talk. Like he speaks truth, and I just kind of talk for the sake of talking, and I just kind of don't even know what the fuck I'm talking about. It's okay.
That's great.
All right, well, let's talk about your fight.
Yeah.
All right. What's
January 20th, Volkan Ozdemir, Boston, UFC 220. Same night as Bellator, so... I hope you guys don't take too many of my fucking pay-per-views. Tell Coker, that's the first time I want to be like, what the hell, Scott? Like, come on, Scott. It's
going to be hard, man. We're free TV.
They've got free TV and a lot of good fights, but, we got heavyweight championship, light heavyweight championship.
Oh, it's gonna be big.
You need to tune into UFC 220.
You know what they're gonna do, right? They're gonna buy the pay-per-view. They're gonna DVR your stuff and watch our stuff live.
You think that?
Yeah,
they'll DVR yours hopefully.
No,
they're gonna go to watch Ngannou.
What they're gonna do is they're gonna flip back and forth. They're gonna say, "Is he up yet? Is he up yet? No, he's not." Okay, they're gonna flip. The same thing with DC. They're gonna flip the main event, and co-main events. We're gonna have a hard time with, But man, it's gonna be
DVR will be
We're gonna see though.
The DVR will be utilized.
You got to remember though, a lot of people can't afford the pay-per-view numbers these days.
They're expensive, man. $60 now.
Especially if you live in San Jose. Going back to that, I'm just kidding.
Let's not talk too much about negative pay-per-views.
I know. I mean, you know what?
What are you boys doing?
Save your money.
Hey, save your money. January 20th. Order your pay-per-view.
Save your pennies now. You know what I mean?
Come on, guys. Brother, I need it. I need it. Nah, man, I'm fighting Volkan Ozdemir. He's looked fantastic in his
Yeah.
last few fights. He's knocked out the last 2 guys really quick. Beat Ovince Peru on like 2 weeks' notice, who was number 6 guy in the world at the time. And after I lost my last fight, it's very important that I go out and I fight competitive and do things I need to do to win. So,
Talking about your last fight, I'm going to cut you off real quick and just talk. Really? Do you feel like you lost your last fight?
yeah, I lost. I mean, people tell me stuff like, well, you didn't get a fair shake and it wasn't fair. And I'm like, dude, I was there. I was in that octagon on July 29th. So no matter how much revisionist history you have, I was in there.
Yeah,
I was fighting him. I was actually competing against that man on that night, and he beat me. I mean, that's my thought, and I don't think nothing. I'm a competitor, man. That's just who I am, and I get it. I get it. There are a lot of things that maybe would have been different, but I was there, and that's who I am.
Yeah, and that makes sense. I mean, obviously, you're competitive. You can go be hard on yourself, but I mean, as the spectator, as the fan, the viewer, I think they might have a little different perspective. Yeah. But I understand your perspective of where you're coming from and being that competitor.
Yeah, some people, and you're right. People are saying stuff like, well, Daniel, it's different. Like you didn't get a fair shake. Let it go. And I'm like, well, I'll feel better after I beat this guy on January 20th. Yeah.
And is this a fight that did you want this guy, or are you ready to fight whoever they offer?
It's always going to be whoever, right? Like I never pick fights. I mean, I just fight whoever. I mean, I would have preferred not to fight Dan Henderson. I look up to Dan Henderson, but they said it was Dan Henderson, so I fought him.
Yeah.
It's like I don't care who I fight. I fought Bigfoot Silva on 5.5 weeks' notice after he had just beat Fedor. And I fought Josh Barnett when I had 8 professional fights. I've never said no. Yeah. I've always just said, okay, I'll fight whoever. So when people tell me stuff like I'm afraid of Alexander Gustafsson, I'm like, I beat him last time. And it wasn't that hard. It was a tough fight.
Yeah.
But it was like, I won 4 rounds. I won 4 out of 5 rounds.
Yeah.
It's like, why would I be afraid of this guy, And I never turn away. I don't turn away fights.
Are you thinking, because there is like a lot of talk right now that Jones may get cleared? Are you thinking this fight might happen again then?
I mean, I would hope so. I would hope to compete against him again.
Really, you would, huh?
Of course. Again, I'm a competitor. Yeah. I would fight him again, and hopefully he would do it the right way this time. I find it very difficult to believe that him and his team could find a way out of this thing again. But if they do, more power to them. Yeah. I don't know. I think best case scenario would be about, I think, like 18 months to 2 years, but I ain't going to be around 2 years. I ain't going to be around 2 years.
I feel you.
I'm 38 years old. I'm turning 39 in March, and if this dude ain't fighting by July this year, time's going to run out on him.
Yeah. So, how long do you ideally want to keep fighting?
My wife asked me the other day, she said, you've always said that you'd be done before you were 40.
Yeah.
I've always said that. Before I was 40, I'd be done.
Yeah.
And she said, if that's true, she said, you're entering into your last year. Are you okay with that?
Yeah.
And I kind of took a moment to think about it. And I said, I started when I was 30. And Mama's calling right now. Hold on, boys. I'm going to answer right now. You guys can't do better. You know how it is when Mama calls.
Oh, yeah.
Hey, Mama. What's up? Yeah, I'm doing Josh's podcast real fast. I'm almost done.
Okay, I have some toys to drop off, so perfect.
Hi, Selena.
That's rad.
Yeah, Mama calls you, answer.
Hey, you got to do what you got to do. Yeah, take that call.
Where you at?
I'm leaving Toys R Us right now.
And
I picked up that bin today, so Joanna said it's still there. So I'm going to go drop off these toys I just brought.
okay, I'll be
awesome,
here.
Okay.
Man.
All right, Mama. Bye-bye. No,
Respect.
she asked me.
Respect.
I have to. Hey, she doesn't fuck around. Let me tell you who's the undisputed champion of the world. Selena Cormier. Selena Cormier is the undisputed champion of the world, man.
Respect.
No, she asked me that, and it kind of took me back because when I came here, I was 30. I turned 31 in March. I came in July once for a little bit. Then I came back 3 weeks before my fight and did that. And I told Dwayne Zinkin and Bob Cook, I go, I'm going to do this thing for about 10 years. I said, I'll be done at 40. I went out, and they said, well, let's give it a good 10 years. And, now we're at 38 and going to be 39 in March. And if this is my last year, I don't mind it. You know, I've done well. I've done a lot of things in a short period of time.
Yeah.
And I've secured a future for my family financially. Then I've also have my TV jobs to go back to afterwards. I've got my wrestling club. I own 2 barbershops in Southern California.
Oh, wow.
I own 2 restaurants, one in Anaheim, one in Miami. So I've got, and one in Oklahoma, a little Cajun one. That one's not doing so well, but the 2 poke restaurants are doing great. So I've got my hand in a lot of different things. And I wouldn't mind, like, the athletic part of my life to be dedicated to my kids now. You know, my young boy's a wrestler himself now. He's wrestled 3 tournaments so far. He's been 3rd, 2nd, and 1st. His last one was 1st. He won 5 matches in a day. The dude was fired up. And he did fantastic. And my daughter is just this unreal gymnast at 5. Wow. She's like so strong that she's like doing pull-ups. I'm like, what in the hell? She's like doing pull-ups. She's like flipping over a bar and stuff. I'm like, what in the world?
DC still can't do a pull-up.
I can't do a pull-up now. I'm like,
I
what
sure
the?
can't.
I'm like, you know, I'm like, so I don't think I would mind. I don't think I would mind athletics to be committed to the kids. I mean, I've been doing this since I was 15. You know, at 15 years old, I wrestled in the World Championships for the Team USA. You know, so it's
That's
like
crazy.
25 years of high level competition is enough for me.
How easy is it for you to actually say, like, this is my last year because of the things that you've been able to build up, like the Fox stuff, you know, having restaurants, having barbershops, having a real successful wrestling program. I mean, is it making it a lot easier to be like, you know, look, I don't need to fight?
Well, it's like the need comes from my love of competition, right? It was like, it's like for a long time, if I was fighting for money, I would be done.
Yeah.
Right. So it's like, I just need competition. Like, so that part is going to be missed. But like, I remember in 2008, after the Olympics, I stayed home for like a year before I came to you guys. And I played 800 games of NBA 2K 2009 because I just was at home like, competition. I needed something to like feel me competitively, right? And I played 8. I was like number 50 in the entire world on that stupid ass game. I just needed. I was like, oh, video games. What can I do to make myself like feel like I want to win? And but now it's like as I've gotten older, and I think competition will come from the kids.
Yeah,
you know, like. Make sure these boys in here and girls that wrestle for me, wrestle and win at the highest level. I mean, I've got a kid right now. I've got this kid named Manuel Casorlo. He's 6 or 7. He was 2nd at the Tulsa Nationals last year. I've got a kid named Jose Telez. He's 5.
Damn.
He's 5. He won the Freak Show. And this dude is the number 1 kid in the state in the 7 and 8-year-old division. And he's going to be wrestling 7 and 8 for the next 3 years.
That's crazy.
Then my son is just 6 years old. So I've got all these. Alex Velaz is 7 years old. I've got all these really young kids that are going to be in my program for the next 8 years. Just
that's
smashing,
exciting,
you know.
man.
And
Yeah,
plus, I've got
cool.
the ones that are 9 and 10 now are Travis Grace and Bryce Luna, Matthew Luna, Scotty Moore. I've got 4 kids right now that are ranked in the top 5 in the country as 13, 14.
The Lunas are ranked? I know the Lunas.
Yeah. Bryce is number 5. Ryan's number 3. And Scotty Moore's number 5 in the country. So it's like we've got some studs, man. They're just nasty little wrestlers that are state champions and national champions. And I just enjoy being a part of their journey because, you know, as mine comes to a close, and Josh can attest to this, you know, you start to look for things that will really fill that void. And I believe that those boys will. I'm excited about just starting the program over at Knox and seeing, you know, what kids show up. There's one I got my eye on. Pretty sure he'll be okay.
That's cool, man. That's dope.
All right, man. Well, hey, we're going to let you cut out of here, but I can't leave without getting a prediction. How's the fight go?
It's going to be a good fight early because Volkan's very tough. He kicks and punches a lot, but it's going to end by just it's going to look bad. It's going to look like Dan Henderson and those guys where they're just so tired. Anthony Johnson, where they almost give up. I'm going to make him quit. I'm going to pressure him and make him work so hard over the course of 25 minutes that he's going to roll over and he's going to give me his neck. So I'll probably submit him around the 3rd round. He'll be so exhausted that he'll just give me a choke, and I'll get him out of there.
I lied. This is the last question coming up. Okay, this one here, and I don't want, you don't have to get into it if you don't want to, but have you had a chance to talk with Luke?
I have talked to Luke. Luke is down in Florida right now because he says that when we're not in camp, I'm very busy with TV and my kids. Kane's been hurt. Khabib's in Russia. Josh is working at his gym a lot, and he just says that in the time in between, the training situation is not that ideal, but Luke's a guy that goes to Costa Rica and shit, so it's not like he's here. You know what I'm saying? But I think that he just kind of he's looking for something a little bit different right now, and I think as his brothers, we have to really respect and applaud him for that. It's scary, right?
Yeah.
I could never train anywhere else because it's too scary.
Yeah.
It's too scary to step out of your comfort zone, and for him to actually be willing and able to do that, I applaud him for it. We're gonna be in Australia. Obviously, I'm gonna go. I was supposed to call that fight, but I said I could never call this fight.
Oh wow! Really?
So I don't know if we're cornering Luke or not, but whether we corner him or whether I'm in the arena just as a fan, I'm going to be there because Luke and I have been on this journey since day one, living in Bob's house together, and I support and respect and love him regardless of where he's training. So, of course, we miss him. We'd love him to be home, but he's got to do what's best for Luke, and if he feels this is what's best for Luke, it doesn't matter what we feel.
Yeah.
It does not matter if I feel that this is better training for him here. He has to go and do. A man can only make decisions for himself and has to deal with the result because of it. So if it's a positive result, great, Luke. But if it's a negative result, you have to be okay with knowing that was a decision that you made. And so I respect and applaud him for making a decision for him, best decision for him, and I support him, and I hope that he gets his victory.
Yeah.
So
that's dope to hear, man.
Well, it's actually, it couldn't have been said better from anyone else. I mean, I would have said it completely different.
I know, right?
But
Josh has
like,
their perspective.
Yeah, DC knows, man. I'm very. This AK has been my home for
He's
20 something years.
to a fault.
Yeah.
And I love Luke. Everyone knows I love Luke. I love DC. I love Kane. All the guys that came here, but yeah, I would have said it a little differently. I'll leave it at that. but hey, thanks for coming on. We're gonna have you on for a full show. But I want you gotta get some food, some rest, and get ready for the next training session.
100%, boys.
Yeah, I appreciate it, bud.
I appreciate you boys having me.
Hey, thanks for being on, man.
Thank you, guys.